to be a collector or historian to appreciate the treasured objects from the 17th to 19th centuries featured at this year's Connecticut Spring Antique Show. Here to tell us about the show and how it benefits the Haddam Historical Society is show director Karen DiSaia, who is also from DiSaia Management and Oriental Rugs, and Arthur Leverant from Nathan Leverant and Son Antiques. Nice to have you both here.
Thanks for having us.
Karen, let me start with you. Antiques are very popular. Why do you think that is?
I think there's been a resurgence of interest in antiques, partly from the media, but I think it's mostly because people are beginning to realize that in a world where everything moves so fast, sometimes it's nice to slow down and actually connect with other people and go to shows like this to learn about things and to see things that you would not be able to see in other ways. And also, it's a great way to really get close to these things. If you go to a museum, you don't get as close to them, but here you can pick them up, you can touch them, you can think about them, and you can own them. Everything is for sale.
It's almost like a treasure hunt, right?
It is like a treasure hunt.
Arthur, tell me how you got started in this business.
I'm the third generation.
Oh, you are.
And I was fortunate to learn literally as I was crawled around our shop. And so my grandfather started the business in 1920.
Wow, that's great.
So I had great advantage.
All right, so we're going to talk about the show in just a moment, but let's talk about some of the items that you've brought with you because they're fascinating, especially this. So why don't we start with the, it's not really a desk.
Well, it's really a dressing table.
A dressing table.
And it's of the Queen Anne period. It's made out of walnut and was made somewhere in the Boston area, maybe Salem, Massachusetts. But not only is it a really wonderful, elegant looking piece, in great condition, it has a great history. It was and has a plaque on the back that says, owned by James Otis Jr., the Patriot. So for those who know their history, everybody's going to remember the phrase, no taxation without representation. James Otis coined that expression.
And he might have been sitting at this desk.
Well, I think he was, because there's some scratches on the top. And when I think he was thinking about what to write, no taxation, well, without representation is nonsense, he didn't like that, so he scratched it out.
And it's right there, there's the proof, right?
Right, and came up with no taxation, or taxation without representation is tyranny. And John Adams later on said he was the birth of independence.
Wow.
It was John Adams' claim that he was the firebrand that started it all.
And
it could have been written
something to do with it, right?
Right on this piece.
That's incredible. Let's talk about some of the other items. I think it's important to note that antiques don't have to be expensive.
No, not at all. I mean, this is a...
Looks like a cookie cutter of some sort.
It is a cookie cutter made about 150 years ago. And just like the ones that you can still get in kitchen stores today, only this is 150 years ago. And, you know, a rider on a horse, and this one is a gentleman. And these were made in Pennsylvania probably about 1850 to 1880.
Wow. And this is kind of a unique piece. I didn't know what it was. You really had to break it down for me.
So this is a very clever thing. It's called a pipe tongs. Now, tobacco, smoking, unlike today, was very popular 150, 200 years ago. And men and women both smoked tobacco. And for somebody who wanted to reach into their fireplace and grab a coal so that they didn't have to get too close to the fire to light their pipe, and then they could suck on it, and then they use this to tamp. This little thing is called a tamper. And then this little pick was to clean out your pipe. So it was made by a blacksmith.
How interesting. How old do you think it is?
It's about 250 years old.
Wow.
In still perfect running order. And probably has about 200,000 miles on it. But it's still going well, still works well. There's a hidden hinge inside with this tension spring, and it still works like the day it was made. And it's pretty remarkable.
Absolutely.
And
wow.
they're called pipe tongs.
Very good. Karen, I want to talk a little bit about the show itself. You could find treasures like this there. Why are people really going to want to come and check it out?
I think people come for a number of reasons. We have collectors who are specifically interested in seeing it, but we've gathered together a group of really fine dealers from all over the United States, and people bring their best stuff. This is sort of the first major show of the spring, so there are lots of exciting things that haven't been seen yet, especially this year with all the snow and people getting cut off from doing what they wanted to. There's everything in the show from really great furniture to portraits to objects that were used for everyday rugs, paintings.
And it's all for sale also,
It's all for sale, so it's a great place to come and find that one unique piece that will make your environment all your own.
Yeah, and you were saying just because you don't have antique furniture or anything like that, even if you have one piece, it changes the whole atmosphere of the room.
It does, because these things have energy. They've been around a long time, and it's really good to go to a show like this because you can see lots of dealers and lots of things. When you go on the internet, you don't get to feel any of it.
Or really talk to a human at that point, right?
And talk to a human. We have everybody, all of our dealers love to talk to people. There will be educational booth talks, which you can find the times of on our website. There are just lots of interesting things to see and do at this show, and it's a wonderful way to get your feet wet.
And I think it's important to note that the proceeds benefit the Haddam Historical Society. If you would give us an overview.
The Haddam Historical Society is in Haddam, Connecticut. They have had this show for 41 years. This is our 41st year. They manage the Thankful Arnold House in Haddam, and the money that is earned from the show benefits that house and their educational programs.
Very good. Well, let's put the information up on the screen. The Connecticut Spring Antique Show is happening this Saturday and Sunday at the Connecticut Armory in Hartford. For more info, go to ctspringantiqueshow.com. Thank you for bringing your treasures with you today. This is fascinating.
Thanks for having us.
Best of luck with the show.